The day Mom brought her childhood sweetheart back to the mansion, Dad, who had quit smoking, stayed on the balcony puffing all night. Back then, his colleagues at the institute used to envy him for having a wife who was a CEO. They said he should just enjoy life at home, why bother working so hard outside, just keep a firm grip on the family finances. But Dad didn't care for that, those are just external things. As long as the feelings are there, rich or poor, we'll be fine. If one day she stops loving me, I'll leave just as I came, alone. Unexpectedly, Dad's words were prophetic. Mom really didn't love him anymore. Later, when Mom appeared before the media arm in arm with that man, Dad flew overseas without looking back. And when I saw the intertwined hands of my fiancée and another man on her social media feed, I knew I should leave, just like Dad. The day after Mom brought David Miller home to stay, she called Dad and me for a family meeting. She placed a copy of the divorce papers in front of Dad. Robert, David is having some difficulties right now, and you know our relationship, so I have to help him. It won't sound good if the three of us live together like this. I promise you, the divorce is just a formality, a divorce without separation, just to stop the gossip outside. Don't overthink it. I stared at Mom in shock, asking in disbelief, on what grounds? If he's in trouble, you can afford to rent him a place, or even buy him one. Why does he have to live with us? Dad reached out and pulled me back, shaking his head at me. Then he decisively signed the papers. A smile instantly appeared on Mom's face. Husband, believe me, the person I love most in this life will always be you. Once he gets through this difficult period, we'll remarry. With that, she happily took the papers and left. Soon after, a press release appeared in the online media. Entrepreneur Catherine officially announces divorce. Dad and I sat quietly in the living room, looking at TH. News, our faces filled with sadness. Dad, why did you agree? And who is this David Miller? He took a deep drag from his cigarette and spoke slowly. That's your mother's first love, the deepest feeling buried in her heart. What kind of trouble does he have that Mom has to help him this much? They have a son, a year older than you. Do you think she could not help him? All the information I received today was enough to shatter the worldview I had built over 24 years. So many people used to envy Dad and Mom for being a perfect couple. I never imagined there was such a melodramatic past. Dad, do you think Mom still loves him? Dad fell silent and lit another cigarette. I don't know, but she probably doesn't love me anymore. I nodded, a wave of sadness rising in my heart. Son, Dad is leaving. If you can, you should move out too. This house won't be the Millers soon. I hugged Dad's shoulders, my eyes welling up. The next day, Dad and I went to the institute together for work. After arriving, Aunt Eleanor from the HR department greeted us warmly. She was my fiancée Sarah's mother. Aunt Eleanor, I asked Sarah out for dinner last night, and she said she wasn't feeling well. How is she, any better? But her expression stiffened, and she stammered back, "Oh, you young people, it's nothing. She'll be fine after a night's sleep." I didn't press further and went directly into the lab to work. Just then, an intern from my year came over with his phone, looking gossipy. "Leo, nice. I heard your family is rich, but I didn't realize this rich. That bracelet you gave Sarah must be worth nearly 200,000, right?" I froze, following his gaze. It was Sarah's social media feed, showing a photo of two hands tightly intertwined. They were wearing matching couples bracelets. I had been feeling like she was acting strange lately, asking her out 10 times and her saying she was busy 9 times. It seemed the answer was obvious. I couldn't see these POS. TS myself, so I took my colleague's phone and kept scrolling. Amusement park, Michelin-starred restaurant, late-night drives in a sports car, and the face of a man who looked similar to Mom. This was her so-called important business. We were college classmates. I fell for her at first sight, and later, by chance, I found out her mother was a colleague of my father's. Dad was the one who personally set up a dinner to bring us together. After that dinner, Dad told me to take her for a walk, and she took my hand first. "Leo, I like you too, ever since I first saw you." That night, we held each other tightly under the streetlight. Looking back now, Both Dad and I had poor judgment when it came to people. This engagement, it had to be called off. After work that evening, Dad stayed late at the lab. I bought some fruit and went directly to Sarah's place. Aunt Eleanor opened the door. She first glanced at the fruit in my hand, then blocked me at the entrance. Leo, Sarah isn't home. You should go back. I stood there awkwardly. Since I started dating Sarah, this was the first time Aunt Eleanor had turned me away. Auntie, please take this fruit then. She wasn't feeling well, it might help if she eats some. But she still didn't take it. We have too much fruit at home, it'll just go bad if we don't eat it all. Take it back for your dad. You go on, I won't walk you out. With that, she closed the door directly. Through the old door, I could faintly hear her disdainful voice. So much money in that family, and still so stingy. Look at all these years, he hasn't bought Sarah a single valuable thing. I walked down the stairs feeling defeated. As I reached the building entrance, a red sports car suddenly stopped in front of me. Sarah and the man from her social media feed got out together, their behavior very intimate. Will Uncle and Aunt like these lavish gift baskets I bought? Of course, Mom knows you're coming for dinner, she's prepared a big table of delicious dish. E.S. I instantly understood. She had blocked me at the door because she didn't want me to interrupt their little get-together. Ordinary fruit certainly couldn't compare to his lavish gift baskets. Sarah! I stepped forward and called out to her. Sarah saw me and instinctively withdrew her hand from his arm, her face looking flustered. Leo, what are you doing here? I didn't answer her, just stared and asked, who is this man, and what's your relationship? Sarah waved her hands frantically. Don't misunderstand, it's not what you think. Didn't your mother tell you? He's your brother, Brandon Miller. He just arrived in Coastal City, so Auntie asked me to show him around for a few days. I turned and looked him up and down, spotting the matching couple's bracelet on their wrists. Sarah quickly hid her hand behind her back. The next second, Brandon pulled her hand back out, displaying it right in front of me. Couple's bracelet, I bought it. What, got a problem, little brother? You're so cheap all the time, can't I buy her things? His provocative words instantly ignited my anger. I swung a punch directly at his face. He wasn't weak either, immediately hitting back with more force than me, knocking me to the ground. Seeing this, Sarah rushed over to help me up. Your brothers, don't be like this, okay? My mom made dinner, why don't you come up and eat with us? I pushed her hand away. Your mom wouldn't even let me in the door, eat what the hell? Sarah, why did you hide this from me? Is there not even basic honesty between us anymore? If you don't want to marry me, just say so directly. I won't waste your time. With that, I got up and ran back home, covered in dirt. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Mom and David Miller sitting at the dining table, having a candlelight dinner. Son, this is your Uncle David. I didn't have a chance to introduce you yesterday. I looked up at him resentfully and spoke mockingly. Oh, it seems the son really takes after Th. E. father. Both look decent on the outside, but only know how to seduce other people's wives. Mom's face flushed with anger, and she reached out and hit me. How dare you speak to an elder like that? When did you become so ill-mannered? I scoffed. I'm ill-mannered? Maybe I learned it from you. You let my fiancé cater to his son. Shouldn't that also be called ill-mannered? Slap. Red-eyed, she slapped me across the face. He's my child too. You two are brothers. What's the big deal about letting your fiancé spend some time with him? Why are you so petty? Do you really think of Mom as so vulgar and despicable? Tears streamed down her face, and she leaned on David Miller's shoulder, crying pitifully. David Miller comforted her while saying softly, Leo, it's my fault. Don't let our father and son ruin the harmony between you and your mother. It's all my fault. Mom quickly covered his mouth. No, David, it has nothing to do with you. It's my fault for not raising my child properly. Just then, the mansion's front door opened, and Brandon Miller rushed directly to Mom, his eyes full of concern. Mom, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Mom looked up and instantly saw the injury on his lip. asking anxiously, "Son, are you hurt? Did you get into a fight? Does it hurt?" Brandon Miller looked at me with a wronged expression. "Mom, my brother hates me. But he's had your mother's love for over 20 years, I'm really so envious. I also long for Mom's love. I'm not greedy, can't you just share a little bit with me?" Mom's tears fell even faster. She straightened up and shoved me hard again. "Is that how you act as a brother? He was also born from Mom after 10 months of pregnancy. How can you be so intolerant of him?" I gave a bitter laugh and pointed to my still bleeding lip. "Mom, I'm hurt worse than him, and you haven't even noticed until now. Your heart and eyes are completely filled with them. What about Dad and me?" She froze, then finally looked at my injury. "I'm sorry, Mom just didn't notice for a moment." "Mom, don't say anything else. I know. Dad and I are no longer important. I don't need your fake concern." With that, I ran back to my room, locked myself inside, my eyes stinging with tears. The next day, Sarah was waiting for me at the entrance of the institute. The bracelet on her wrist was gone. "Leo, I was wrong. I shouldn't have hidden it from you. Can you forgive me just this once?" I looked at her coldly. "Let's call off the engagement." Her eyes immediately turned red. She grabbed my hand. "Don't do this. I promise I'll never have anything to do with him again. You know I love you very much." Looking into her sincere eyes, my heart wavered. Maybe I had misunderstood her. My tone softened. "Sarah, I'm only giving you this one chance." With that, I went directly into the institute. As soon as I entered the lab, I saw Dad with messy hair. "Dad, did you not sleep all night?" "Yeah, the director called me yesterday. There's a research project overseas they want me for. It requires 5 years. I'm still considering it." I knew that although he was disappointed in Mom, he still couldn't let her go. "Dad, you've missed many opportunities in the past just to be by Mom's side often. If you miss this one again, given your age, you won't have many more chances." He shook his head. "That's not what I'm thinking about. I just can't believe it. 20-something years of love, how can she just stop loving me? What if she's just momentarily confused?" I sighed deeply. It turned out we were the same, both soft-hearted. In the evening, Mom told me she wouldn't be home because she had a new product launch. Dad and I were in the lab, looking at the live stream on a phone. Watching Mom shining brightly on stage, Dad's eyes still flickered with sparks of love. But towards the end, Mom suddenly announced on stage, "Next, I will announce 2 appointments. Appointing David Miller as Group Vice CEO, and Brandon Miller as General Manager of the new product project." Then David Miller came onto the stage, hugged Mom, and kissed her cheek. Brandon Miller also came up and stood by Mom's side. The family of 3 smiled happily for the flashing lights. At this point, a reporter from the audience asked, "Ms. Chairwoman Catherine, are you planning to officially announce your new relationship with Mr. David Miller here? You two look very well matched." I turned and looked at Dad. At this moment, the sparkle in his eyes was gone. They were like still water, dim and lifeless. "Son, she really doesn't love me anymore. After I go abroad, you must take good care of yourself." I sighed deeply, a bitter smile on my face, and asked him, "Dad, do you mind if I go abroad and live off you?" He looked at me in surprise, asking, "What about Sarah?" I took out my phone and opened a screenshot. In the front row of the launch, Sarah was dressed elaborately, wearing that $200,000 bracelet on her wrist. A bouquet of bright red roses highlighted her tender smile. "Dad, there's no place for us in that house anymore." After the launch ended, Mom specifically called us, saying she had booked a table at a restaurant for a family reunion dinner. I pulled at Dad, feeling angry. "Why did you agree? Eating a damn family reunion dinner with them?" Dad smiled helplessly. "Forget it, son, don't worry about it too much. She is your mother, after all. Just think of it as helping her fulfill one last wish." In the private dining room, when Dad and I pushed the door open, they were all chatting happily and had already started eating. They hadn't intended to wait for us at all. Sarah was also there, still wearing that flashy dress, sitting next to Brandon Miller, looking demure. Compared to the others, Dad and I were dressed simply, like waiters. "Oh, Robert, you're here. Come sit down quickly." David Miller greeted us warmly, and Brandon Miller also became unusually well-behaved, greeting both of us. Only I had a cold expression. Mom said to me with some displeasure, "Leo, say hello. How can you be so impolite? Look how sensible your brother is. You should learn from him more in the future." Heh, I'm not an actor, I can't perform. Saying that, I plopped down next to Sarah, glancing at her. She immediately sensed my displeasure and quickly explained in a low voice, "Leo, don't be angry. Auntie asked me to go today. I couldn't help it." At this point, Mom cut in, "Leo, as my son, how can you be so petty? Sarah is Brandon Miller's only friend here. What's wrong with asking her to come and support him?" I laughed coldly, "Mom, if you're going to say that, I'm his only brother, why didn't you ask me to go? Don't forget, Sarah is my fiancée. Is it really appropriate for you to constantly try to push the two of them together? What, am I not your biological child? Or are you saying I wasn't born from you and the person you love most, so you look down on me this much? You." Mom slammed the wine glass in her hand onto the floor, her face red with anger. "I've really spoiled you too much since childhood, made you so ill-mannered. You don't understand how deep the feelings between your father and I were." I retorted just as rudely, "You're right, I don't understand. How can feelings be deep when you divorce him for another man? How can feelings be deep when you let another man move in and now even hand over your own company? Dad, I really don't understand these feelings. Do you?" Slap. Mom slapped me across the face again. I had always been well-behaved since I was little, and she had never hit me. This was the second time she had hit me for someone else. I was so angry that I stood up and, with force, flipped the entire table of dishes onto the floor. "Mom, I'm only going to ask you once. Dad and I, and those two, you can only choose one side." "Who do you choose?" Mom answered without hesitation, "Brandon Miller is so much more sensible than you, of course I choose H. If you don't want me as your mother, suit yourself." Dad was still trying to persuade me nearby, "Leo, don't be like this. Let's just have a nice meal." "Dad, how can you be such a pushover?" I ignored him, grabbed Dad, and walked out of the restaurant. As I left, I asked Sarah, "Are you coming with me? If not, don't ever follow me again." Tears instantly welled up in her eyes. She glanced back and forth between me and Brandon Miller, finally gritting her teeth and following me out. Soon after, Brandon Miller chased us out and blocked our way. He pulled Sarah behind him. "Sarah is with me today, I'll take her home. You can get lost by yourself." I clenched my fists, squeezing a smile through my teeth. "What, Mom's not here, so you're not going to pretend anymore?" He scoffed smugly, then leaned into my ear and whispered, "Leo, everything that belongs to you, I'm going to take it away. Mom, the company, the wealth, including women." Then he laughed wildly a couple of times, forcefully pulled Sarah into the car, and sped away, leaving a cloud of dust. I took Dad to a small restaurant we used to frequent and ordered a bottle of liquor. "Dad, how can you tolerate them so much?" He downed the glass of liquor and began to tell their story. He, Mom, and David Miller were childhood friends who grew up together in the village. Mom had always liked David Miller, but his family was too poor, and my grandma was always against their relationship. Later, when Mom was 18, she got pregnant after a secret encounter, and David Miller got scared and ran away. Dad stepped into Mom's heart during that time. He took meticulous care of Mom until she gave birth. Later, when they were old enough, they got their marriage certificate, and Dad also got into college, bringing Mom directly to the city. Not long after, David Miller suddenly appeared and took the child away. Mom cried for 3 days and nights. Sigh, I understand that feeling of falling in love at first sight, just lick. How I felt about your mother. No matter how she hurts me, I can't bear to see her sad. And we've had 20-something years of history together. I believe your mother isn't someone completely heartless. But Dad, how many chances did you have to go abroad back then? To let mom start her business, you gave up everything and gave her your research results for free. The success she has today is all thanks to your research, but look at her now, she let those two walk right into the company. Next, they'll steal the company. All your years of hard work will be for nothing. He just waved his hand, still believing in mom. Your mother knows what she's doing. Late at night, Dad and I returned to the mansion. Everyone was already asleep. In the dark house, there was a sliver of light showing from under one door. Dad went to his room to pack, while I walked towards that door. David Miller and Mom's conversation could be heard from inside. Catherine, it's hard to gain respect just taking the vice CEO position like this, since we don't have a formal status. I was thinking, maybe we should get a marriage certificate? David, wouldn't that be awkward? Even though I told Robert we'd remarry later just as an excuse, I genuinely want to live well with you both. Wouldn't it be good for our big family to be together? If he finds out we got married, we won't be able to keep him in this house anymore. Catherine, I understand you, and I feel for you too. It's been hard managing such a large company by yourself for so long. I just want to secure my position so I can help you and our son share the burden more. We're just getting a certificate. We'll just let the people at the company know. Robert doesn't go to the company anyway, he won't find out. If you're still worried, I have another idea. I heard several foreign companies want to recruit him with high salaries. How about you have him sign a lifelong contract with the company, so all his research results can only be used by your company? That way, if he leaves, it's like he's completely out of the industry. I believe he'll consider it. Outside the door, I couldn't help but clench my fists. This person was truly wicked. Not only did he want to take over everything of Mom's, but he also wanted Dad to work for them for the rest of his life. Absolutely despicable. There was a 2-second silence inside, then Mom's voice came through, "You're right. Actually, I've thought about this for a long time. Although we've been married for 20-something years, you can't truly know someone's heart. It's hard to guard against threats from within the family. I really should be wary of him. If he gives his research results to another company, my company would be in a difficult position." I wanted to rush in and yell at them, but a strong hand pulled me back tightly. Turning around, I saw that Dad had somehow appeared behind me. His face was already covered in tears. Then, ambiguous sounds came from the room. "Baby, I can't believe you're 45 and still have such a great body. I really want to have you under me every day. Oh, you're annoying. Be quiet, don't let him hear." I couldn't bear to listen to the sounds that followed and quickly pulled Dad, who was standing frozen, back to our room. "Dad, is this what you meant by Mom knowing what she's doing? Is this what you meant by 20-something years of history wouldn't be completely heartless? I don't think she even has the basic respect and trust for you anymore." Dad slowly wiped the tears from his face with a handkerchief. In that instant, he seemed to age greatly, his face showing a hint of determination. The next day, Dad and I made an excuse that the Institute had a big project going on and moved our luggage directly into the Institute housing. On the way to the lab, I happened to see Sarah's mom showing off a scarf to her colleagues. "Oh, don't touch it casually, this scarf is worth tens of thousands." Sarah's mom, did Kid Leo finally shell out? Buying something so expensive to butter up his future mother-in-law? She sneered disdainfully. "Him? Forget it, he's as stingy as they come. His mother is clearly so rich, but he won't spend a dime on our Sarah. He insists he doesn't want to rely on his family and wants to make money on his own. As an intern at the Institute, how many lifetimes will it take for him to earn enough for a house? Honestly. This was a gift from Leo's brother. He's pursuing my daughter, and let me tell you, he's generous. He even buys us imported fruit. You'd think being born from the same mother, there wouldn't be such a difference." I scoffed inwardly. Dad was honest and easy to bully, but I wasn't. An idea immediately came to me. I put on a warm smile and went up to greet Sarah's mom. "Auntie, are you free tomorrow? I'd like to pick up Sarah, and we can go look at some mansions together. I told my mom that when I marry Sarah, I want her to buy us a mansion as a gift." Hearing the word mansion, her eyes lit up, and she couldn't stop smiling. She nodded repeatedly. No problem. I'm free. Sarah and I are both free. Great. I was also thinking that after we buy the house, I'll put Sarah's name on the deed. Sarah's mom instantly changed her tune, reaching out and putting an imported fruit in my hand. I knew I didn't misjudge you. I'm 1,000% confident marrying Sarah off to you. I smiled and took the fruit, then walked to a secluded corner and stomped it into pieces on the ground. The next day, I picked up the mother and daughter and drove them to several upscale neighborhoods. While looking at houses, I planned out a wonderful future. Sarah, look at this room. I plan to make it a nursery. We can have several kids later, there are plenty of rooms in the mansion anyway. She leaned into my arms shyly, blushed, and kissed me. Also, after we get married, you won't have to work. I'll take over the 20% of shares my mom gives me. And you can just sit at home counting money all day. Buy whatever expensive bags you want. Sarah's mom kept agreeing enthusiastically, her mouth watering with excitement. Didn't you say you wanted to travel in an RV? I've already pre-ordered a top-of-the-line RV. How about I give it to you as a wedding gift on our wedding day? I painted a very satisfying picture for the mother and daughter with these grand promises. In the end, guided by me, they chose the most expensive mansion. Okay, this one. Whatever my wife likes is worth any amount of money. I'll come back tomorrow to pay the deposit. That night, after returning to the Institute housing, I took out my phone and sent Brandon Miller a photo of that mansion. My wife and I have already picked out a house. Don't bother trying. You can't take her away from me. As expected, when I went to the sales office the next day, pretending to pay the deposit, the sales agent told me that the mansion had already been bought outright by Brandon Miller. A satisfied smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. That mansion cost over $80 million, which was probably Mom's entire company's liquid funds. The reason he was able to use this public fund so easily was because I had already spoken to the financial director of Mom's company. That person was the older brother from the neighbor's house who used to play with me when I was little. I was the one who introduced him to the company in the first place. Due to his outstanding workability, reliability, and my knowing his background, he was quickly promoted to financial director. After hearing about my situation, he was also very angry and hadn't given those two a pleasant look at the company. This time, I specifically instructed him, Brandon Miller is also Mom's son. This family fortune will be his sooner or later. Let him do whatever he wants. Agree to everything. Even if Mom asks later, you won't be responsible. He immediately understood what I meant and saved all the evidence, sending it to me. That night, the private investigator I hired to track Brandon Miller started a live phone feed for me. The screen showed him and Sarah having a seafood feast at a Michelin-starred restaurant. I saw my chance and sent her a message. Sarah, I thought about it, that mansion is too expensive. I really don't want to be dependent on parents. Let's look at a regular house instead. I promise I'll pay the down payment, and we can work hard together to pay off the mortgage later, it'll be fine. Sure enough, her expression immediately became downcast. She lifted her wine glass and drank it all in one gulp. Brandon Miller asked with concern, Sarah, what's wrong? Aren't you happy I bought you a mansion? Brandon, do you think Leo loves me? Why does he always insist on his own way, even when things are clearly agreed upon? Can a man who refuses to spend money on me truly love me? Tears streamed down her face as she spoke, and she raised her glass and drank another glass of red wine. I really didn't understand why love had to be measured by large sums of money. Didn't people in ordinary working-class jobs have true love? Although I didn't earn much, since we started dating, I never let her spend a dime or suffer any hardship. I bought flowers and gifts just the same. Did only luxury goods catch her eye? Did she love the person, or the money? Based on my understanding of her, she would definitely get drunk tonight. Especially with Brandon Miller, who was eager to win against me, there. Not long after, the private investigator sent me photos of Brandon Miller helping her into a hotel room. The next day after work, Sarah called and asked to meet. At the coffee shop, her eyes were teary. Leo, let's break up. I just can't feel your love. I calmly sipped my coffee and scoffed. Does your love for me only show through the amount of money I spend? Her face immediately showed indignation. How can you say that about me? Are you calling me a gold digger? Well, what else? Just because Brandon Miller bought you a mansion, you think he loves you? If that's not gold digging, what is? You're wrong. It's not just a mansion, it's his sincerity towards me. Unlike you, you promised but couldn't deliver. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Oh, you believe a man you just met a few days ago has sincerity towards you? Then let me ask you, the mansion he said he'd give you, is your name on the deed? At least with the house I buy, no matter the size, I can put your name on it. She was stunned by my question. Before she could react, I handed my phone to her. It showed a trending topic that had just appeared. Sorry, just saw this on my phone. I think you should take a look. The trending topic read, Entrepreneur Catherine's eldest son Brandon Miller met a famous model in the early morning. The two kissed passionately and entered a hotel. Below it was a secretly filmed video. The time was after he had spent 3 hours in the hotel with Sarah the previous night. He came out and went straight to his second appointment. I had already had these father and son investigated. For years, they had been running scams, con artistry, pulling one scheme after another and then disappearing. Later, they ran into a tough opponent, and both almost went to jail. In the end, they had to pay everything they had to get away. That's when they came to seek refuge with my mother. And Brandon Miller was a notorious playboy, with a record of meeting 5 women in one night, which he once even bragged about on his social media feed. Sarah's face turned extremely pale, and she bit her lip hard. I smiled, took my phone back, called the waiter for the check, and left. As I stepped out of the entrance, she suddenly ran out and hugged me tightly from behind. Leo, I was wrong. I was just impulsive earlier. Let's not break up. Let's get married. I don't want the mansion anymore. I don't want anything. I'll listen to you in everything from now on, okay? I pretended to soften and turned around to hug her. In 1 month, Dad and I would be leaving. I would let her live the sweet dream a little longer. In the following days, Brandon Miller and I engaged in an intense tug-of-war. On his side, he kept coaxing Sarah with sweet talk. On my side, I continued to pretend to be attentive with my gentle demeanor. Because of the previous incident, Sarah had become cautious. While pulling back and forth with Brandon Miller, she didn't give up on me either. She was essentially treating me as a backup. Brandon Miller's personality was too impatient. After only a few rounds, he couldn't resist making a move again and bought Sarah's parents a $10 million apartment. Just as their whole family was joyfully moving into their new home, Dad and I had already prepared everything and gone to the airport. And that morning, I had already posted the evidence of the father and son embezzling public funds and purchasing substandard raw materials online, and also sent copies to the police station and Mom. As Dad and I were waiting to board, a trending topic already appeared on my phone. Brandon Miller was taken away by the police for investigation, and all his collaborators were demanding refunds and compensation. Dad and I both sent goodbye messages to the women who were once most important in our lives. Suddenly, Sarah and her parents rushed into the airport, looking panicked. They quickly came up to me. Leo, why didn't you discuss going abroad with me? I'm your fiancée. I glanced at her coldly. I already made it very clear in the message I sent you. Our engagement is off. Didn't your whole family move into Brandon Miller's apartment? Why are you looking for me? Sarah's mom cursed angrily. Oh, that scoundrel completely ruined us. We were kicked out as soon as we moved in. We already sold our old house, and now we're homeless. That rotten bastard. Leo, we were wrong. We shouldn't have trusted him. You're a good kid. Please give Sarah another chance, okay? Sarah took out a lab report from her bag and showed it to me. Leo, you can't abandon me. I'm pregnant with your child. I burst out laughing. Sarah, we can't have a child. You didn't know? Men also have birth control. You used to tell me you didn't want to have kids so young, so I felt bad for you and was afraid that taking birth control pills would harm your body. That's why I was the one taking male birth control. The bastard in your belly is Brandon Miller's, isn't it? He's useless, so you came back to find me to take care of his mess. How could you be so malicious? No, you're lying. Nothing happened between him and me, the baby is yours. I didn't hesitate and threw a stack of photos at her. They were photos of her and Brandon Miller in bed, and Brandon Miller had sent them to me to show off. If you keep clinging to me stubbornly like this, I don't mind posting these online. Sarah, I advise you to save some face. They stood there speechless, and Dad and I boarded the plane smoothly. On the plane, I asked Dad, will you blame me? With what I've done, Mom's company will have a hard time recovering. She might end up with huge debts. Dad shook his head, everything happens for a reason. Let it be, let it be. After arriving overseas, Dad quickly threw himself into work, and I became his assistant. This company was a joint venture between Chinese and foreign partners. The boss was Chinese and greatly valued and trusted Dad's talent, investing heavily and providing a large number of researchers to assist with Dad's work. Before long, Dad developed an alternative product to Mom's company's high-demand drug. Not only was the price right, but its efficacy was significantly better. As soon as it hit the market, it caused a sensation in the industry. Dad's reputation soared, and he gained the recognition he deserved long ago. As for Mom, ever since we left, she had been busy cleaning up the mess. Brandon Miller should have gone to prison, but Mom issued a letter of understanding/forgiveness and even spent a lot of money to get his sentence reduced to probation. As soon as he was out, Sarah went to find him, trying to force him to marry her with the child, but he looked at her with utter disdain and kicked her, causing her to miscarry. You damn bitch, I was only with you to compete with Leo. He's gone, what do I need you for now? You're just damaged goods that Leo was done playing with, get lost. You disgust me. Sarah's uterus ruptured from his beating and kicking, and she would never be able to have children again. Mom paid the Shin family another sum of money to settle things for him. Seeing the company about to collapse, Mom tried every possible way to raise money, hoping to turn things around by relying on that high-demand drug again. Who knew David Miller and his son would take the money and run, disappearing without a trace? Mom still wanted to borrow money, but it was useless now. Dad's alternative product had completely replaced theirs. She was utterly ruined. After paying enormous compensation, the company faced bankruptcy. Later, I heard that David Miller and his son were robbed while living it up in the US with the money they stole. They were shot a few times and died. 2 years later, Dad and I had just left a new product launch event when a middle-aged woman with a haggard face stopped us. Looking closely, it was Mom. Her temples were gray, and her face was covered in wrinkles like an old person who had endured many hardships. Son, I've missed you so much. Saying that, she reached out to hug me, but I stepped back and avoided her. Mom, back then, you gave up on us for those two. There's no need to look for us now. Crying, she turned to Dad. Husband, you used to say you didn't like me with heavy makeup, and that you loved the pure, plain-faced me the most. Look, I'm wearing your favorite floral dress again. Can we start over? Dad adjusted his glasses. I'm sore. Why, the Catherine I knew is dead in my heart. Please go back. There's no need to meet again in the future. With that, he turned and got into the car. I took out a card. This is enough for your plane ticket back home. From now on, I will send you alimony regularly according to the amount stipulated by our country's law. Go. Don't disturb Dad and my life anymore. In the car, I asked Dad, have you truly let go? Yes, long ago. For the first half of my life, I was always protecting and taking care of her. For the second half, I want to enjoy being protected and taken care of by someone else. I laughed heartily. Right, Aunt Mary next door makes good food, and she's nice too. Dad nodded, smiling. Yes, I think she's good too. More importantly, she's very kind to us. I looked closely at the old man. I realized he wasn't just an honest person who only got bullied. He was the one who knew what was going on all along.